Hello, everybody.
Ma'am,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt, but
What is
before
the
you
procedure?
starting,
You can start.
before you start, Sandeep Dada, please go ahead. Dada,
Sandeep,
please
you're muted.
unmute you.
Hello, good evening, everyone, and happy Easter. It is said research is to see what everybody has seen and to think what nobody has ever thought. Here we are with another informative and interesting lecture on practical solution for your research problems, organized by Cultural Studies Research Forum. There are many potential scholars with excellent academic background, but now they are struggling with their either research topic, or they are afraid of facing their PhD interviews, or some are feeling helpless drafting their final thesis even. So we will get some inside secrets from someone who has been teaching students and guiding research scholars for more than 25 years now. It is her smile, her gestures, her motivation that makes students fall in love with literature. And it is her experience that enkindles the initial spark inside a potential research scholar. I welcome each and every one of you to this enlightening lecture. Before I conclude, I would like to say a few words about our Cultural Studies Research Forum. Cultural Studies Research Forum is a non-profit enterprise started by the student of Vallath to organize free public lectures, courses, and discussions in various aspects of research and cultural studies. It was inaugurated on 13th April 2021, and we invite all of you to take initiative to organize our lectures and connect us with independent researchers, professors, and scholars from across India to keep this program running successfully. This is our forum, and each and every one of us has equal opportunity here to initiate meaningful discussions. Please do continue supporting us and help us expanding more and more. Research is creating new knowledge, said Neil Armstrong long before. Today, our speaker is the director of Vallath, the co-CEO of Bodhitri and QSOP, Dr. Kalyani Vallath, who has molded the careers of thousands of professors, young professors in India. It is my privilege and pleasure to welcome Dr. Kalyani Vallath to handle today's session. Let's all dig into the lecture now. Over to you, ma'am, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sandeep Mondal. I am very happy to be able to speak to you today about research. We know that there are several avenues for all of us to know about research and research areas, yet we are all completely not sure how to do it. Many of us are not confident enough. Some of us are confused. So from my own experience of doing research and reading, today I will be sharing some practical solutions to some of our problems. I hope it will be beneficial to all of you. Now, my lecture or session here today is coming in the line of great lectures that Cultural Studies Research Forum has been organizing. Definitely, this is one of the small and insignificant ones. There are so many other lectures that a wonderful, vibrant team of research scholars and English literature enthusiasts have organized in the past 2 years, where I have been learning from. I am really privileged to be part of that glorious group of august speakers and scholars who have been enlightening our Cultural Studies Research Forum members. So I will share my screen now. I have titled my lecture, Practical Solutions for Your Research Problems. This presentation will take you through various aspects of research and reading. I am not actually focusing on academic writing as such, which I will touch upon, of course, but I will be focusing more on how to collect the right kind of material and how to think and how to, lead from one topic or aspect to another, because that is a challenge for most people. So that will be the focus. The biggest challenge is understanding your research area and finding a topic. And even after you find the research area, to understand and to get and understand the right kind of material. That is where I'll be focusing on, finding the appropriate material. We will also in this session look at some of the tools to be used. I will just mention some of the tools. There is next month an online lecture we'll be organizing about research technology that can be used in research. If you're interested, that will be, I think it is in June, that lecture is coming up. If you're interested to know more about the tools, that lecture will help you. And organizing literature review, how to read and organize it, we will touch upon. Getting the methodology right, how to do the chapter divisions, and best writing habits. The one marked in red will be the main focus. Even though I have said research area, it will be also useful for people who have a research area so that they will understand how to connect and think and write. Now, for a lot of people who are beginning to do research, let me just introduce by drawing your attention to the structure of a research proposal. First and foremost, you need an area that interests you, where you will research on. In that area, you need to find a topic, and the topic should be put across in an appropriate title. So that area, that is actually half the research done. If you know the topic and title and do a lot of reading for that purpose to identify the title, it's actually half done. And then you need to know what is the rationale for your research. Rationale means, why are you doing this research? What is the contribution that you will be making to intellectual disciplines and your society with this research? And what is the literature review? What kind of studies have already been done in this area? So you have to read all the possible literature in that area and position your research project within the existing literature. This is why in 1 month or 2 months, you cannot actually reach a research topic and write a proposal. Many people find it a great struggle to start their research and find a topic, because they are under the probably wrong notion that we have to start with a title. But that was the old method of research. Post-colonial approach to Derek Walcott's place, like that we used to frame research topics in the past. But today, because so many people are doing research, those kind of topics are completely out of fashion. In every university, even small universities, they want you to look at something very new and not so researched on, etc. And also, it is better if you can make it interdisciplinary, and you can make it very complex in terms of methodology and theory, because only then you will even be accepted for a research program. So even before you pass an eligibility test like JRF, even before you write the entrance exam of a university, at least some months before that, the first thing you should do is to start reading up and identifying a research area. Because as soon as you pass the exam, within a month or so, you will have to present your title, proposal. Do not wait for that time. You have to do it early enough, because it will not be sufficient. The time that you get after the exam result, that time will not be sufficient. So in the research proposal, first you introduce your area, topic, and title. Then you have to provide the rationale for why you are doing this research project. And then you have to write about the methodology. The methodology is the theories that you are using, the concepts that you are employing, and how you will use them in your topic. That is what is called methodology. Many times we use a multifocal lens of theory, not just one theory, but many theories. Understand that theory is a perspective. The first thing we should all do when we do research is to read a lot of theories and understand what it means by a theoretical perspective. How do you read a book from a post-colonial perspective? How do you read a book from a feminist perspective? It can be a combination of feminist and post-colonial perspectives. It is not enough that we read the theory. It is also necessary that we read other people's research dissertations and proposals, etc., to see how they have done it. So research naturally takes a few months, at least 6 months, I would say, to be on track. It is only normal. Do not have the wrong idea that we will first pass the exam, then get into a research project, course, and then we'll think of the topic. That is not so. And whatever work we have done, reading we have done, we have to put at the end of the research proposal as well as the dissertation as the bibliography. Bibliography or works cited. Sometimes we will cite quotations, etc., from other books in our proposal and dissertation, and those books should be quoted here. Now, even when you take ideas that are not our own, we should cite those ideas. In India, traditionally, a lot of us in our educational system have been copy-pasting and taking other people's ideas, etc., for various reasons. One is that many of us got into research projects without even knowing what is research and how it should be done, without a foundation. It's not our fault, really. Secondly, there was a sudden influx of so much material online, but nobody really guided us how to use this material. And thirdly, and most importantly, English is not our mother tongue, and we are all struggling to understand original theories and original books, because it is not easy for us to understand this language and understand the concepts. All this is natural. And lastly, we are pressurized, because in the West, there are so many months and years that people take, and there is financial support that they get, etc. But many of us are pressurized to immediately do PhD, immediately to get a job, etc. So within these limitations, the ethics of research has been seriously compromised. But with the coming of NEP and new educational policies and developments, it is going to be very important that we do our research properly. So do not be in a hurry. Find a solution for your problems. Research cannot be the solution. It is actually your problem. So we should spend time on research, master it, read a lot. The first practical solution that I can give, and it's a foolproof solution, read with a structured plan, so that you understand about the area that you are reading, that you want to do research on. You understand the theories that you will be applying and using, and you also understand how to do research. So do spend some time on that. I hope this presentation that you're all attending will help you with that. So coming directly to the research area and topic, how do you get it? Do not get a fancy topic that somebody else suggests, because it has to come from you. It has to come from your reading. It has to come from your experience. That is when it works best. That is when you will be able to speak confidently and write clearly. If you're in a hurry and get topics from other people, it may not work, because you can't identify with it. You know, it is like marrying somebody whom you don't know. It is better to know that person and find out whether this person suits you and then get married. Because otherwise, research is like marriage. You will have to spend like 5-6 long years with this topic, with this area. So do it carefully. Don't jump into somebody's suggestion and make a mess of your life. That is very important. So choose a topic that actually interests you. If some of you are from BA course or you are doing your MA course and you're not in a hurry to do research, best. That is when you should really begin thinking about research. You have to start thinking about research even when you are in your BA or MA and start reading upon that area. And then slowly, you will become experts in that area. The problem we have in India is that we are hurrying with it and jumping into an area. So as soon as possible, choose an area that actually interests you and that you can relate with. It is like getting married or building a house, etc. Do you understand? You have to find an area that you can go and understand and relate to. Something should be there that is related to your culture or your experience or your interests. Some of us will be interested in gender. Some of us will be interested in history. Some of us will be interested in actually working for subaltern people. Some of us will be interested in theoretical ideas in philosophy. So relate to topics and areas and choose it. Your topic, don't worry, at the beginning, your topic will not be the best and the most complete topic. It can be changed a bit after you start doing some initial research. So don't look for that final topic at the beginning. The area is important and one direction is enough. And pick a topic that is manageable. Your topic, if it is too broad, I know that these are all very commonly known things that I'm saying. I will come to other areas. This is just by way of introduction. If your topic is too broad, you won't be able to condense it. If it is too narrow, you won't be able to find enough secondary material to write about it. So there, if you are inexperienced, you might need somebody's help to find out how to shape the topic, how to shape your area and topic. There you might be taking somebody else's help also, who's experienced in it. That is where you have a guide. A supervisor or a guide is only a guide, is only a supervisor. A supervisor or guide should not spoon feed you. A supervisor or guide should not be an expert in your area. You are the expert in your area. So you should act like that. You are like an expert talking to another expert. Your supervisor is the expert and he or she will help you shape your topic. Your argument can be inductive or deductive. I will explain this further, don't worry. Inductive means start from a hypothesis. Maybe it is like that. In post-independence India, maybe people are doing something, or maybe in this, in rural areas, people cannot speak English, and those who speak English may be using social media more. Like that, one maybe question is hypothesis. Maybe in post-independence India, men are not so patriarchal as before, and people accept gender fluidity. You know, like that, one maybe question you start with. You don't have to write it down. I'm talking about how to find an area or topic. So from there, you can go find out books and texts with which you can illustrate it. That is one way of doing research. The opposite can also be done. Start from examples or books or texts and move to generalization. It is a little more challenging, the deductive, because you will have to find out what is there in this text that is important, which is what I will be trying to show you in my presentation. So you can either start from a hypothesis, a general guess, and then illustrate it with examples. Or you can start with examples, characters, texts, etc., and move to generalization. Now, how do you do this? When does this happen? Like an epiphany, you should read a lot. In that area that you like, you should read a lot. And when you read a lot like that, you will start getting ideas. Oh, these characters are similar. In this text as well as that text, this is there. Like that, slowly, like a chain, these thoughts will come. That is how it comes to a person who is experienced in reading. Did you understand? So it naturally comes at some point. I will also show you how to get it. So let me just quickly illustrate with some simple examples. The first method is identify concepts. and relate to authors, works, genres. When you read literary theory, etc., you will come across many concepts like this. Grotesque is one concept, for example. Carnivalesque is another example. Cannibalism, folk elements, monstrosity. I just randomly wrote some concepts that I could think of. Gender fluidity, etc. These concepts, read more about it. I'm so fascinated by carnivalesque, or I'm so fascinated by gender fluidity. Read more about it. And then when you have enough experience with it, think about literary works, read articles and books, and then you will find a new connection. Everybody knows that Salman Rushdie has post-colonial elements. Everybody knows that Salman Rushdie has magic realism. Everybody knows that in Salman Rushdie there is, say, hyper reality, or there is, what can I say, history, historiographic metafiction. These are all known things. When you read about Salman Rushdie, don't take these known things that is commonly known by everyone. Don't take that for research. Instead, element of the grotesque in Salman Rushdie's short fiction. Even don't take novels, because that is overworked. So element of carnivalesque in Parsi drama. I mean, I don't know if carnivalesque element is there in Parsi drama, but I think there is, because Parsi drama is all about entertainment and the marginal people. That is a lot there. Dancing, drama, like Hindi movies they are. Then cannibalism. Is there element of cannibalism in female Bildungsroman or Salman Rushdie's short fiction? Cannibalism not only in the sense of man eating man, but in a metaphoric sense also. Bodies or violence. I think in Salman Rushdie's Midnight Children, maybe you can think about whether there is an element of cannibalism, because human body is cut up and described so graphically, viscerally. It reminds me of cannibalism, actually. So I'm saying that when you read more and more about it, cannibalism in other people's writings, cannibalism in literature in general, for example, then you will get some new connection like this. Like that folk elements in, say, Jane Austen, but Jane Austen is too old. Maybe in some contemporary woman writer or contemporary, say, subaltern writer, etc., you can find folk elements. Mainstream writer also, not necessarily subaltern. The concept of monstrosity, how it can be applied, even same thing, again, to Salman Rushdie or well-known writers. So this is one method where you take familiar concepts, familiar authors, and you connect it in a new way. I hope you're getting me. So gender fluidity also like that in 21st century Indian poetry or female Bildungsroman, etc. That is one method. You take concepts that are known, authors that are known, and connect in new ways, which is automatically possible only if you read about it more and more. The second method is identify authors, works, genres, etc. that you like. Like I said, female Bildungsroman. Identify genres or identify works. And then what do? Identify patterns or concerns that emerge in all of them. You take a group of works that are somehow similar and identify what are some patterns there, concerns there. To help you understand further, you can think along these lines. What are the ways in which these authors can be compared and contrasted? How are their perspectives on something different? Something matlab gender or nation or materialism. If you look at theory, you will get that something. Because there is theory of materialism, there is theory of migration, theories of, say, space. So how are these writers differing in terms of their depiction of space? How are these writers differing in depiction of class? Things like that. How they relate to the same environment in different ways. For example, marginality or oppression are very common things. Very common example of this is marginality, oppression, race, etc. But you can also apply it to other things, not so common areas also, how they relate to the same environment and how their writing changed over time. You can take a group of writers and how they have changed over time, how they react differently to the same ideas or ideologies. That also can be another method. So I'm just giving by way of introduction. Now we will go into more deeper details. I was talking to my husband. As some of you might know, we have 2 pets. And I told my husband, come and sit down, help me. I need some research topics because I have to deliver this lecture. This is how it happened. And he was not in a mood to help me with research topics. And he said, our pets were here with us. And he said, why don't you suggest something about animal studies? Because that is one area these days, animal studies. I said, okay, that's a good area. Because in culture studies, animal studies is very common and very important these days. So what did I do? I sat and wrote down all this. Animals, the way they are treated must be so very different in Arabic literature or culture, in Chinese, Indian, Western, native, animals in post-colonialism, animals in world literature, like that I'm thinking. Here I'm only writing my thoughts. And I have divided my thoughts into sections, okay? And then I thought, I will take a quick look. And in 5 minutes, I found that in animal studies, important contributions have been made. I Google searched on animal studies, theory, important books, etc. And I found that there are books by John Berger on about how to see animals. You know, it's a very important writer who wrote Ways of Seeing. There is a famous man called Thomas Nagel. Jacques Derrida wrote The Animal That I Am. J.M. Coetzee has written about animals. Very important writer, again, we know. So that I got. It took me only 5 minutes till now. So that also I wrote down. Then I thought and researched in Google Scholar. I came across animal-human relationships, animal-human experiences. People have written about all these things. Animals in everyday life, animals and selfhood of man, animals and nation, community, politics, animals and ethics and care. You know, you can apply this kind of thinking to any topic. When you find a topic or an area, not topic, area, Google search in Google Scholar, look at other people's article titles, write down like this, all the things that you get. Brainstorm and write down like this. And then I found animal rights and politics. That you can, people are doing research on domestication and companionship of animals, pets and all that. Animal as food in relation to consumerism. Animals and colonialism and trade, you know, fur trade, ivory trade and all that in colonialism. And then animals and health, animals and children's literature, animals and subalternity. So many things are there. Out of this jungle of animal studies, what will we take as our topics? We have to write down the major theorists. We have to look at articles and even write down novels and films. So I understood, okay, this is a big area. There are so many things happening in this area. Also, I came across terms like animality, animalism, animal culture. And I understood that if I'm going to do work on any area, I have to read like this, find out who the major theorists, what are the articles, what are the terms, and make a glossary for myself. Write down the terms and understand, okay, these are the meanings of the terms. This is the implication. These people have written about it. Like that, for a few days, you have, at least for a few days, you have to understand that area in general. Whether it is globalization studies or migration studies or gender studies or materialism or Renaissance studies, whatever studies you are taking, you have to do this exercise. Clear, guys? And then what did I do? I looked at the interesting books that I found about. I did Google search on these books. John Berger's book is called Why Look at Animals. That is a very interesting book that he has written. Why Look at Animals. And I found that there is this website. Can you see the screen, guys? I'm unmuting you for a minute. You're already unmuted.
Yes, ma'am.
you can.
You can
Yes,
see
ma'am.
the web page, na?
Yes, yes.
You can. Okay. I'm muting you. So I quickly looked at a good web page that I found. Why look at animals? John Berger is talking about it. And of course, you should read at least one or two write-ups like this in detail. But even if you don't read, if you just Google, if you just browse like the skimming and scanning, if you do, you will get a lot of keywords and points. Animals are the objects of our ever-extending knowledge. Okay. I'm just going down. John Berger, author of Ways of Seeing. Why Look at Animals is an essay. It is part of the anthology about looking. I'm getting the points. Did you understand? And he starts from talking about the muses, the first human art as cavemen. He talks about spiritual deities, captive entertainment, entertaining with animals, pictures like this, cave pictures. And if you have time, you should read all this like this. And then you continue browsing. He talks about how what drew us closer to our fellow beings, some kind of comfort they offered. You know, with animals, we get some comfort. And animals offer a companionship. We are seeking something in our animals. We are dying to talk to our animals. We want them to talk back. We depict them anthropomorphically. So when I look at this, can I do animal studies based on children's literature? How animals are depicted in children's literature? Children's literature is also a broad area. You have to narrow that down. I'm getting thoughts like that. You can write down your thoughts. And animals' likeness and unlikeness from man, he's talking about. When you read in detail, you will get it more. And then Salvador Dali's Zodiac series. Oh, animals in painting. Animals in modernism, modernist literature and modernist painting. It will be good to connect literature and painting, maybe. I'm writing my thoughts, okay? Whatever thoughts I'm getting, I'm writing down, and eventually something will emerge out of it. Animal gaze is there. Wow. So when I read, I'm noting, and I will do extra Google search and whatever I like. At first, I will do a very broad Google search on the area, but slowly, I have to narrow it down and bring it towards a topic. You can't just go on reading everything like that. So animal gaze, you know that feminist gaze is there, post-colonial gaze is there. You could consider writing a research paper or something on animal gaze, and eventually you can develop into a project. Then Aristotle wrote History of Animals, it seems. That I didn't know. So I am writing it down. And then I'm going again. Why not just look at any one animal like dogs or cow or horse, or maybe one animal I can focus on? Like that, I'm thinking. Then like this, I hope you understood. I'm just getting points from browsing through material on this book. It was a book review, not the book itself. It was a book review. Then I am looking at Derrida's The Animal That Therefore I Am. Again, I will get, Google. I can Google like this. And then again, I Google and find out interesting books in this area. Animal Revolution. Wow. A witty, informative, captivating work at the juncture of post-humanism. You have to copy paste the descriptions of these interesting books and save in a file and then read it later. Then all this will help you shape your area. Did you understand? Animal Revolution is an interesting area. I have written, I have copied pasted the write-up on it. Creative, speculative, non-fiction can be applied in it, it seems. Well, and then I found another book, Precarious Partners. It is about horses. Sometimes you will get the Google book itself, copy or take a screenshot of the contents page and save it, because you will know what this book is about. From the contents page itself, you will get like animal magnetism. See, ideas you are getting. So save it like that. And also the write-up on this book, that also you should save like this. I have illustrated it. Easily you will get in book reviews, etc., what this book is about, and keep separate notes for every subsection. When you read John Berger, You're getting more and more scholarly about this, whatever area you're working on. So you find major theorists, write down their ideas like this in your own words. Don't forget to make your own notes, and also make notes on other theorists to read on. From what you're reading like this, you will get other theorists to read on, that also. Then books depicting animals, make a list. Animal studies is only an objective correlative here. I am using it as an example. It is an interesting example. You can use it in anything. You can use these ideas in any subject or any area. Key ideas from book reviews. Remember, everybody, book review. Don't forget, they are a wealth of information. Book reviews are very, very important in understanding all these books, because we can't get all these books suddenly until you decide which book you should get. Book reviews will guide you. And then read on concepts and terms that you come across. Like this, all the concepts and terms you come across, you should make notes on, add to your glossary. Identify all related areas. Now, animals, you still don't have a topic. You are still in animal studies. Suddenly, from something I read, I found that people have been writing about milk, cattle, cows, milk studies and dairy culture. There are words like that within cultural studies. This idea came from this book review that I saw. Cultures of Milk. I found this book review. Andrea S. Wiley's book, Cultures of Milk, book review. And I saw this and wow, I read it. I got a lot of ideas from this book review. Then what did I do? I went and searched for the exact book. Wiley's book I found in the internet, and I read about it. Look at this, Cultures of Milk, the biology and meaning of dairy products in United States and India. Andrea Wiley has written about India. So I am reading about it. This is interesting. I'm thinking, I do more Google search. Another book I found, dekho kya hai? Reimagining Milk by Andrea Wiley. Whole book is there in Google, not whole, but condensed page, everything is there. So I go through this, whatever is available, I am reading, and I read the preface, and I'm getting more and more confidence. I make notes. And then another book I got. That book is Milk Culture of Eurasia. So in India, Asia, everywhere there are different milk cultures. Sometimes you won't get the entire book. Sometimes you will get parts of it. Sometimes you will get only the contents page, but even that will help you. Finally, when you decide this is your area, you can procure these books. You can get these books. Then another book I found. Dekho kya hai? Wow, that is very different. The portrayal of breastfeeding in literature. Arey wah, aisa bhi hai book. Analyzes the depiction of breastfeeding in literature. So, animal studies, women, breastfeeding, all are connected. I'm getting the idea. Then another book I read, again, I found from this area, Mother's Milk and Male Fantasy. And then, oh, these are all studied in French narrative. So I'm getting ideas on how to shape my topics, etc. And then I am thinking about milk. You know, I suddenly remembered Stuart Hall's Circuit of Culture. Stuart Hall talked about Circuit of Culture. I am thinking, let me do research on milk studies, because that is not a very common area. Everybody will not know it. It looks a little new. And what does Stuart Hall say about the production of milk, consumption of milk? All these are part of that culture. It can be a topic related to production. It can be a topic related to consumption. It can be a topic related to regulation, who is controlling, or a combination of these. Representation, how is it represented in literary works? What kind of identity is related to it? You know, for example, in the case of breastfeeding, trans women, we just heard about in Kerala, a trans man delivered a child, and we talk about trans women adopting children or having children, etc. So it is a little oppressive, this concept of breastfeeding. It doesn't work the same for all genders, in all cases. So is there and I'm reminded of Mahashweta Devi's breast stories, where in Breast Giver or Sthanadaini, Jashoda is a lower class woman. She is breastfeeding the zamindari children. So I am aware that there is so much related to milk. And then I coin a term as I read and get more and more confidence. I coined the term milk narratives. I did not find this term in the internet, but I am coining it, milk narratives, narratives of milk. And then I found that Deborah Valence has written a very major book called Milk. Culture studies book it is. The first cultural history of milk. Wow. If I'm doing anything on milk studies, maybe this is an important book that I should procure. So I read about it. Ultimately, we'll understand there's a lot of politics and power at work in this area. So this is how I find a research area. Only after you actually read in this research area will you be able to find out some very good topic there. And then you can give a title to your topic. Did you understand? This is only a spectacular illustration that I made. It doesn't have to be fancy all the time. It can be a very ordinary topic relating to literature and authors that you know and all that. But this is the method in which you use your reading. This is how you connect from one to the other. This is how you make notes. This is how you become a scholar in that area. Once you have read so much and made notes about what are the important topics and areas and concepts, authors, etc., then you can approach your supervisor and say, this is my area. I like this. Will you please help me shape this topic? These are all the concerns I find in this area. Like that, you should approach a research supervisor. If it is literature, I found randomly books that everybody knows. In Tests of the D'Urbervilles, you can say that is a milk narrative. There is so much about milk. In Bluest Eye, Pecola wants to drink milk and become accepted. That is also a milk narrative. In Song of Solomon, the protagonist's name is Milkman because he's always drinking his mother's milk. And in Mahashweta Devi's breast stories also, breastfeeding and milk is a very important. So many different varieties of literary works. If you sit and actually do research and do wide reading, you can get books like this. And then frame questions to guide yourself. Well, while you find out books like this in your area, you should ask questions in this manner. How is milk culture or whatever I'm reading on related to social identity? How is it relating to class? How is it related to culture, race? If you ask such questions, you will get some direction in which to read. You will understand how to read, which way to go. So how is this topic that I'm reading on related to all these concepts? In what ways does this intersect with issues of social inclusionism? These are important terms you should ask in the context of research. Subalternity, colonialism, neocolonialism, consumerism, and also national and historical contexts. Like this, you should ask several questions to yourself. When you ask contact your supervisor, I am reading on this area, will you ask me some questions with which I will be able to read better? You know, with the help of other people, you can frame these questions sometimes. And when you read, you keep this question in mind, it will give you more ideas. And then I understood that milk is not a simple thing. In Brahminism, it is one thing. In Dalit literature, it is another thing, obviously. I can relate it to patriarchy, globalization, social events like white revolution. So it is getting very broad, and within that, you have to shape up your topic. Did you understand? And also beef eating. So this is the basic methodology of working within your area, identifying the important concepts, and then you can draw some related, you can draw a line or you can group together the related concepts and put together, that will become your research topic. When you should make a mind map of all these areas, and whatever you have put in the mind map, the concepts that you have put in the mind map, when you put some of them together, you will get your topic. That is how it works. Did you understand? And the same thing you can do with many other interdisciplinary areas today. like migration studies. I have just put a simple copied pasted only a simple definition of migration studies, a broad diverse area connecting economics and race and ethnicity, and also of course literature. When these days, when you do research, it is not only literary texts that you are taking, it is also paintings, blog entries, and other kinds of narratives also, maybe even photographs. In migration studies, for example, photographs can be a very important resource. Then I was checking online. Many of you are willing to go abroad. You may be trying to go abroad. There are so many areas that I found where faculty members from foreign universities are working on. In relation to language, rhetoric and composition pedagogy, I don't know one thing about it, but I thought I should share with you. I saw in many international universities, faculty working on these areas, rhetoric and composition pedagogy. And also a lot of people are working on electronic and digital textualities, how textualities change with the coming of computers. Because how writing, reading, such processes change with computers. So there in those areas, a lot of research scope is there. So instead of just sticking to traditional literature, you could think of these new areas also. And I saw that in relation to computers, people are doing research on design equity, data, English department people only, people from English departments, design equity, data feminism, data justice, and things like that, datafication, So these are some very new areas that I found. Also, material culture and object studies. I found this fascinating. So many English department people abroad are working on material culture studies. It is an interdisciplinary field. So many of you are searching for areas, even though you don't actually do a research on material culture and object studies, you can bring in object studies into your existing research. It will be a totally new approach. The relationship between people and their things. Suppose you are doing a research project on feminism. Suppose you are doing a research project on post-coloniality or whatever. If you read on object studies, within the gamut of your research, within your novel, you may be able to apply some insights from object studies, the relationship between people and things, the making, history, preservation, and interpretation of objects. I really want to see how object studies can be applied on God of Small Things, for example. So many things are there in God of Small Things, starting from Rahel's plastic watch to buildings, Karisaipu's house, so many things, the boat, relationship between people and things. Why don't some of you first of all, always write a research paper and then only develop it into a PhD dissertation. First, explore it in a small paper. So that you will know the area properly. I just illustrated how you can apply object studies and create a fascinating research paper that maybe nobody would have thought about. So please read about it. Another fascinating area is critical heritage studies. India is rich with traditions and heritage. And this concept in culture studies, this area in culture studies, reconceptualizes heritage by paying attention to power, identity, economic development, conflict, etc. There are so many novels where local communities have to, leave their Sula, for example, by Toni Morrison. Local community is getting destroyed because they are being changed and something else is coming up there. Like that, people are displaced in many novels. That kind of novels you can identify and look at how traditional heritage or urban heritage, contemporary monuments are also being made. For all this, how people are displaced and how it affects them, how their relationship with space is defined, all that you can look at through critical heritage studies perspectives. Then urban studies is there. This is also not very much worked on. Study of cities. How cities are inhabited, the architecture of cities, as it comes out in movies or even novels. For example, in Zadie Smith's novels, London is a very strong presence. The study of London City, looking at London City and Zadie Smith, for example, there might be lots of other writers also of similar kind who are relevant in urban studies. And the other day, I noticed that our very popular and famous professor, Dr. Pramod K. Nair, is now dealing with vulnerability studies. That is where I came across this term. I thought I should introduce you to this term, vulnerability studies. He is running a center or something for vulnerability studies, I saw. I was fascinated. What is that? I had never heard it before. Vulnerability is again a multidisciplinary concept, denoting weakness or susceptibility to form. Vulnerability studies in the context of postcoloniality, gender, marginality, subalternity, etc. you can do. Trauma, all this maybe you can apply. So I thought I should introduce all these interdisciplinary areas to you, which I found fascinating and which might bring new approaches to your subject. You know what I did? I always do something. I Google search for other people's research projects. I just sit and Google search and look at the contents page of contemporary research journals. I don't have time to read. I don't have the understanding also to read and understand all those papers. But the titles of those papers will give me lots of ideas. Do you understand? You should also do the same. This is a very practical thing that you can do. You should look at other people's titles in Google Scholar, in the contents page of journals, in conference papers. There are conference websites where, conference alerts websites, etc., through which you can look at what are the conferences happening these days? What are the papers like? Oh my God, those are all so updated, up-to-date areas. Don't go asking people for research areas. It's all easy. Now, when you read an article or a book, you should write a brief summary. I'm not going into the details too much. When something you read, you should immediately think, okay, from here, I should do this research. From this point, I should do this research. This idea gives me this direction for research. Like that, you should read books. When you read books from the book itself, you will be able to cross-connect to other areas. You will get other concepts and authors, etc., to look up. Like that, you should read. Did you understand? And you should ask yourself these questions. How is this study related to my area of research? Suppose you are reading somebody's article. What is the relevance of this to my research? And when you're reading an article, what is this study about? What are they trying to argue? Like this, if you think, you will be able to write your argument properly. What is the underlying argument of this article? What is the methodology used in the study? Can I adapt it? Like that. It is not stealing, but getting inspired by other people's research. Did you understand? You can also think like, are there words or terms used in this study that I can use in my dissertation? What are these concepts? Can I use them in my dissertation? Like that, you should think. And locate the books cited in the bibliographies of other books. Somebody would have made a bibliography. From that bibliography, you will get the books that you need to procure, that you need to get. Use Google Scholar and get people's articles related to your topic. Read their bibliography. Use those books and articles. Google search with keywords should be a one-time, I'm so sorry. It should not be a one-time activity. I forgot to add not. It should not be a one-time activity that you do at the beginning of your research. You should continue to do it. Google search with keywords. Organize material. And when you read and find appropriate material, you should always organize it. You should always organize what you have read according to theme, theory, chapters, relevance. Did you understand? Like this, you should organize what you have read. So everything you are reading, and ultimately you don't know what you have read, where to look for. It should not be like that. Put everything in the right compartments. Find the gaps in the collected material. Search for appropriate material in that area. Whatever material you have collected, what is the gap there? Is there something missing? Can I do my research there? Can I write about it? Like that, you should search. When you read, that means you should read critically. Did you understand? Here are some tools that you can use to find the relevant information. Look at the table of contents and index of books. Always use the index of books. Also use the table of contents. You know, when you read, when you Google search, you will find something in a Google book. Okay. Don't just read that area. Go look at the contents page of that book. Read it. Then it will really help you. You will be able to get new information from the contents page. And you should use find in page. Always search using find in page. Always you apply your keywords and find whether those keywords are there in that article. Read that area clearly. Also bookmark to identify a passage later. Always use the bookmark option in computer, and also insert comment when you read. Insert comment so that you can note your observations later and cross connect. You should always write your thoughts there in the PDF, etc. And also hyperlink to write out your arguments and link it to relevant online resource. When you type out your chapter, hyperlink there. This point that I am writing is there in this article. Hyperlink it. I showed you hyperlinking in the in my presentation. I had hyperlinked, and from the PPT, I had gone to the web page, isn't it? So like that. And when you read, the main ideas should be written down. You should note your main ideas like this. These are the main things in this article. And from there, subpoints, examples, etc. Like this, you should write your notes. Don't just copy from the book and write completely like that, but main ideas, categorize, organize like this. That will really help you later. And also, this is what you have read in the article, and this can be your thoughts on this. Did you understand? And when you write your chapter, you can write this plus this. Did you understand? That is very, very important to write your thoughts also. On left side, you write your thoughts. On right side, you write the ideas you got from the books that you read. Okay, you are raising questions, because this kind of engagement, when you're thinking like that critically, it will really help you to write better your chapters. What should I agree with? What should I disagree with? Like that, you should think. And then the rationale. Are you tired? I'm going on and on. I just need like a few minutes more. Rationale of your research means, why are you doing this research? Identify the research gap. What is missing that you have to identify? It should have some social relevance. When you are writing about literature also, even though it is not directly to deal with our society, it should contribute to that area. It should contribute to the discipline somehow. It should help other researchers at least. You should not only review, but also analyze existing literature, critically analyze existing literature. When you are writing about somebody else's ideas in your literature review, you should critically apply your analysis there. Develop a knowledge framework. From all the reading that you have done, develop a knowledge framework where you position your research. Your research should come within that framework of reading that you've done. Like that. And how do you organize your literature review? Ask yourself, what other research has been done in that area relating to my topic? And what are the main ideas that have emerged in that area? What you should ask yourself, what is already known about the topic and what remains to be discovered? You should actually write down these questions in your notebook and answer these questions. Otherwise, your idea will not be clear. Like an exam, you should write short notes on all this. In what ways can I organize the most important past findings about my research problem? what are the past findings, how I can organize it. Remember, guys, any of you who want to go abroad, if you write your research proposal like this, you will easily be accepted. Is there any prior research that is unique or groundbreaking? Is there any research that marks a turning point? Like this, write down these questions. You can use the same questions itself. You can write your own questions also. How can I enumerate the past developments and changes that have appeared in the past relating to my topic? How is my topic related to the past developments, the past readings that I have made? How can I critique existing research? This list that I have given here may not be useful right now, but when you are reading for research, write down these questions and use them. Then at that point, this will become very, very useful. It will become helpful to organize your literature review. And the methodology is the discussion of theoretical concepts. What are the concepts that I can use? How can I use a mixed methods approach? What kind of data will I use? Even if I am reading based on books, even if my material is based on books, how will I read my books? How will I read these novels? What method of analysis will I use? These are the questions you should ask. And you should write these answers. How will you understand? By reading other people's dissertations, by looking at what are the common methods used. Did you understand? And you can choose from there. Is enough information available for my study? Or can new data be found? Like that also, you should think. And all this will go into writing your methodology. And lastly, in many research proposals, you don't have to give chapter divisions, but it will be good to have an idea of chapter divisions. Obviously, first you have to write the introduction. Then you have to write literature review, an enumeration of existing research. Then you have to write your own analysis and findings in core chapters. In core chapter, in the core chapters, you should do analysis and findings, analysis of your primary sources and studying them according to the secondary sources. And finally, you have to provide results, conclusion, and then bibliography. Introduction can be a historical overview of the topic. Historical overview. Literature review should be critical. Analysis should be further subdivided. It should be pakka organized. Results and conclusion can point to further research by raising questions. You can point at what other people can do. And then you should write the bibliography. How will you write bibliography? Study the MLA style sheet before you start. Even before you start writing and doing research, you should know the MLA style sheet. APA, you should use for international publications. Many people want APA. So if you're doing that, study APA also. And there are software, is software available these days for MLA, citation. So use the appropriate software, find out, Google, research on the software and make it correct and make notes on bibliographic details throughout the course of your research. Bibliography cannot be written suddenly at the end of your research. From the beginning, you have to make notes on bibliography, keep the details ready. All the data should be ready. Very, very important. They do this abroad always. Prepare an annotated bibliography at the initial stages of research and keep expanding it. What do you mean by annotated bibliography? A bibliography where you write a little write-up on all these books. I showed you, I took the title of the book and I copied from the internet a little bit detail about the book. Many people have already written it. For your own purpose, at least do that. What is this book about? Write a note, an annotation, so that when you're actually writing your chapters, it will be tremendously useful. Lastly, I'm winding up, the best writing habits. When you're actually writing your dissertation, if possible, every day you should write. If possible, whenever you get new ideas, whenever you read a book, you should write. Otherwise, suddenly at the end, you can't write your chapter. There could be an utter confusion. So start writing as early as possible and read as you write and write as you read. As you are writing, you will find gaps, then read it. As you are reading, you will want to write, so write it. Write notes on everything you read. Whatever is relevant to your topic, you should write notes on it and save it, organize it. Organize your notes under chapter heads from the beginning. These days, because you can easily search online, in the computer, this will be tremendously useful. Keep bibliographic details and citations correct and up to date. Then you will be a great researcher. You will be a great scholar. If you take shortcuts, you might land in trouble, because we should write a dissertation that has some value. Haven't you seen professors from international universities, central universities, big universities? Wow, the way they speak, the way they write, their papers are all so amazing. Don't you wish you want to write like them? This is the way. Start reading, slowly build up. The first time you do research or do writing, you can't do it exceptionally well. So slowly and steadily read more and improve yourself. That is the only way, actually. There is no shortcut to this. And read your own writing at a later time and edit it. Whatever you have read about your chapters, etc., after you do more research and reading, always edit it, because the first draft is never the best draft. Okay? So that is about what I wanted to tell you about research. I hope it helped you. We can now discuss any doubts or problems or questions that you have.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, in chat box, we have a few queries.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, if anyone want to speak and ask their query, they can.
Please
Anyone
ask.
want to unmute yourself? They can.
Manasi said, I want to ask.
Okay, Mansi, then please proceed.
Oh, unmute nahi hai wo. Okay, sorry. Unmuted.
मैडम मैं मुकेश बोल रहा हूँ. Can you suggest me something about ecology as far as Indian writers are concerned?
Yes, there are very basic books on ecology and environmental studies, like Cheryl Glotfelty and all that. But ecological studies have changed so much. There are so many new approaches in ecology, like green studies and hybrid approaches. Ecology in relation to ethnicity, ecology in relation to technology, ecology in relation to space studies, like that. So I have already done a series of videos on research areas. Kalyani, Vallath research areas. If you Google search, you will get 4 or 5 videos. There I have given a lot of new terms relating to ecology and environmental studies. If you watch that video, you will get a lot of ideas. And
Madam, I have read something about this one, Ruskin bond. So can I go move ahead with that?
Ruskin bond and ecology is a very direct and simple connection. You can, but within Ruskin bond, relating to ecology, you should find out something unique. Then you can.
Madam, can I go for comparative studies between Ruskin bond and other writers as far as ecology is concerned?
You can.
Okay.
But the challenge will be to read more about Ruskin bond and ecology and find out something unique there, which nobody has already talked about.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah. Madam, can you suggest some topic from your side which can be easier for us? I'm a school teacher, so I don't get much time, ma'am. So I'm feeling
No. You have to consistently find some time. Whatever area you like, you have to read and find time, and it should never be done in, over the table like that.
Right, ma'am. Yes, certainly I'm doing, ma'am. So yes, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your suggestion.
Hello. Hi,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yeah, hi.
Ma'am, like you mentioned the materialism and objectification theory about objects. So it got my mind running. I'm actually not in the process of research, but I really like that topic.
Objectification nahi, object studies.
Yeah, sorry, ma'am. Object studies and
Yeah.
materialism. So it got me thinking, and I remembered when you talked about Galsworthy's The Silver Box play in your Videopedia videos, and the depiction of the silver box according to class. So that
You
got my
can do object studies on Galsworthy, not just one play.
yes, ma'am.
Maybe you can.
And
Not an expert on that at all. I just know a little bit about it. You have to really do a lot of reading and then see if it is workable.
yes, ma'am. And another angle I found was how the rise of materialism is giving rise to consumerism, and also the emotional angle relating to materialism, like we buy things in an impulse and then we get an instant gratification, but that goes afterwards sometimes. And how rich people's relationship with objects and materialism has shaped, and we can do like a historical
You
analysis of
can,
that.
maybe, yeah.
And yeah, that. So these were all my ideas.
Yeah, good.
Thank you.
Ma'am, good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am, I'm your student who is currently pursuing in your course, and I hope you remember me. I'm doing my BA final year, ma'am, and it will actually help me a lot, and it's so informative, and I hope this session will induce me to start research from today, ma'am. But ma'am, I have a doubt. May I take a work and just compare the controversial theme about the work and that is being said by the other authors?
You want to take a work and do what?
A theme will be said in a particular work, right? So may I just compare it with the other authors, like who has been controversial to the theme that has been said by the actual author? Like what
Yeah,
I think.
maybe you can. Yes, we need to really work on it and see what exactly you mean. But I think you can. Yes.
Yeah, I can, ma'am. Then the title of my project will be like I have to note both authors or the authors whom I read or something, ma'am.
Yeah, whatever theme you're taking, whatever primary sources you are taking, that should come as the title.
Oh, okay, ma'am. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah.
Am I audible? Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Yes, ma'am. So actually, I've been planning for the topic to come up. So lately, I've been reading. So I had a question that if I were to prepare a topic on the portrayal of women, let's say. So can I include
On the portrayal
the
of what?
portrayal of women? Yes. So can I include the text or short stories with a certain contemporary movie as well? I mean, can I include both of the things, or it has to be separate? Either you work on the movie or you work on the text.
Two things. One, you can do short stories and movies together, no problem. These days it is accepted and even encouraged. But don't just do portrayal of women. That is an old approach. You should find out something unique in the portrayal of women and make that your topic.
Yes, ma'am. I've been working on that only. So it was just a broad idea, portrayal of women. But I've been
Then okay.
Good
okay,
evening, ma'am.
thank you.
Yes, please, one by one. Yeah.
Ma'am, can you suggest me something regarding ELT pronunciation, ma'am?
I'm not an expert on ELT.
But any suggestions regarding recent approaches?
I will have to read and do research in order to talk about ELT. Sorry.
Thank you.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Yes, ma'am. I'm Ashwati, and I would like to know, like, as of now, I've chosen a topic regarding, a postpartum depression.
I didn't understand. Regarding what?
I mean, postpartum depression.
Huh.
So, ma'am, I'm a little stuck because as of now, it is not moving anywhere. Like, I don't know the problem. I find it a little hard because the text which I've chosen is entirely of this postpartum depression. From the very beginning to the end of the novel is all about postpartum depression, how the lady is moving with it, and finally, ends up
Why
her
your
life.
research project is not moving is maybe because you are not reading enough. You should look at it from different approaches. Forget
Yes,
the novel now and think about the theoretical approaches to postpartum depression and look at it from sociological, gender perspectives and psychological perspectives. Do a little bit of general reading and then you will come across some perspectives and ideas which will really give you a break, and then you can come back to the novel.
Yes, ma'am. Biggest thing is like there are not much works on that particular novel.
I don't believe that. There will be.
And later it has been adapted into a movie. So it
No,
was
I don't. You don't need material on the novel. You need material on that concept. You should read widely about. You should read about as many books as you can where postpartum depression is depicted or discussed.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Research is when you do a research on a book, on a novel, you don't necessarily have to find all the material about that book itself.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand? For example, when I was doing research on children's films, one breakthrough I got was when I was reading about Scarlet Letter. There was no connection whatsoever, but it led me to think in a certain way, and then you understand. So read extra.
Yes, ma'am. There are multiple things that is striking me with things that I'm not able to make a thread or like, yeah.
Sometimes you should understand it's not normal.
Yes.
As I said, put it down in writing.
Yes.
Write down like this take a big chart paper, write down all this and look at it and try to connect, and like that it sometimes solves itself.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, good evening. Ma'am, please can I say I have been like trying to say something for a long time now.
Okay, speak.
Yeah, ma'am. I'm a big admirer from West Bengal here, and first of all, ma'am, I have like a couple of topics. I would like your view on them. For example, depiction of menstruation in literature, and third gender in partition and refugee literature, and Bernard Shaw as dietitian and use of food in his work. Like I have this couple of like topics. Not I mean the topics are there, but I will search in them. So I just want to know if I'm going in the like correct direction.
I will have to know more about your project and read what you've written to really understand if you're going correctly. There are other people who have already written things related to it. In our newsletter, Koel, didn't we have a write upon, or we are going to bring it out on menstruation and
Yeah, on menstruation, we are going to do, I mean, in our next newsletter, it will be there.
So I know this person who did that research. Sometimes when you connect with these people and, read what other people have written, etc., you will get a clarity. The coordinators are reminding me that I have class at 7:30, but that's okay. We can go up till 7:28. Ask.
Good
Hello,
evening,
ma'am.
Okay, good evening,
Yes.
ma'am. Ma'am, my topic is color symbolism in Margaret Atwood's novel, The Testament. So I would like to know how deeply we can take this topic. Like I used to get in the way that different colors have different perspectives or different emotions to that, to a particular situations. Rather than that, what is that utility in literature? Color
Listen, are you dealing with only one novel for your PhD?
Currently, I took only one novel.
I think it is not enough to take one novel. One thing is take either other works of Margaret Atwood, or take dystopian novels or feminist dystopian novels, or some broader area, so that, because this looks very narrow.
Okay.
And then color symbolism in Madame Bovary, like that, extra other works where color symbolism is there and how people have written about it, please check it out. Because from there, you will get lots of connections.
Okay.
There will be philosophy.
Madam,
I'm not an expert on color symbolism.
Madam,
But-
it's Mukesh here. Can I speak, Madam? Mukesh.
Can I just complete what I'm saying? One minute.
Please, ma'am. Please.
So what I was saying is, read when you are stuck like that. Read how other people have done it, and you will get philosophies and authors' names and things like that from there. So it will be a very big breakthrough. So read like that. Did you understand? Everything, it does not have to come from our head. We can know from our reading.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Hello, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, Mukesh, will you
Yes,
please?
Madam, just 30 seconds only. Ma'am, actually, I would like to know, for example, I was talking about ecology and about Ruskin bond. So I have to take a particular aspect like flora, fauna, or nature depiction, or I have to incorporate all those things. सभी को मिलाना होगा, madam, या किसी एक
You can
particular
do
aspect
either
को
way. Depends on your approach and topic. You can do either way.
अगर मान लीजिए मैम कि नेचर के बारे में, मैंने फ्लोरा के बारे में रस्किन बॉन्ड लिखा है और कुछ राइटर्स लिखे हैं, तो इकोलॉजी में सबको हम मिला सकते हैं मैडम?
मिला सकते हैं, हाँ.
Yeah. Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam.
Gauri is Gauri.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, what is it? Say quickly.
Ma'am, I'm planning to
Somebody was going to speak. I will listen to you after this. Yeah, Gauri.
Ma'am, I'm planning to do a research on a Greek writer, a Greek film director and his film based on psychoanalysis, especially Lacanian psychoanalysis. So if I put it as a research proposal, will it be a problem? Because I think it is not connected to our social situation, particularly.
No problem.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
No problem at all.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Last question. Somebody was going to speak.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Hello, ma'am. Good evening. Am I audible?
Yeah. Speak.
Okay, ma'am. Actually, my interest area is eco-psychology, ma'am. And my primary sources were short fictions by Temchulao, Mashaveta Devi, and Sarah Joseph. I'm confused about it because I don't know how many works should I include for my PhD thesis.
6 or 7 works or 8, up to 8 works people do.
Actually, these are short stories. By Temchulao, there are 9 to 10. And then Mashavita Devi, these are breast stories. They are only 3. But Sarah Joseph, these are, if I talk about the masculine of the virgin, they are 21.
21. Is it all in one book?
Yes, masculine of the virgin.
So that means you're taking 3 books.
Yes, ma'am.
No problem.
Or should I include more like
but it also depends on your guide. Some people will have different opinions. I would say no problem.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. That's
Indian mythological fiction. I have to work on it.
Okay.
Amish or Anand Neelakanthan or Ashok Bankar. So many people have written about mythology. It's the craze these days. You will easily find authors. And like I did for milk narratives, you have to read and identify the keywords and concepts and write a mind map, and then you can, you can find. Okay, I have to stop this now. Koyal, let us stop the discussion. Anybody who has more queries, please send us messages in the groups. I will be willing to answer and help you in whatever way I can.
Yes, dear.
Yeah.
Please be active in our Vallath Test public group and Cultural Studies Research Forum group for any updates.
Yes.
And now, Shruti, can you please proceed with you?
Yes, Koyal.
Yeah.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. I am wondering how I can show my gratitude toward you, ma'am. I find myself privileged enough to be a part of this imposing event organized by your Cultural Studies Research Forum and hear from you directly. I do not know how to proceed with a formal vote of thanks note for you. Rather, I would like to acknowledge the contributions that you have made to us. You always remind me of a quotation from APJ Abdul Kalam sir, who once said, "To become a nation of beautiful minds, I strongly feel there are three key societal members who can make a difference. They are the father, the mother, and the teacher. I know everyone will agree with me that you are more than a teacher to us. Like our parents, you always stay with us. I know, like me, all of you get immense benefits from this lecture by ma'am. Your amazing lecture indeed develops a strategic idea about research methodology. Thank you very much for this insightful lecture, ma'am. Today, as a representative of your Cultural Studies Research Forum, I would like to express my love and sincere thanks to you for gifting us with your soulful knowledge of the vast field of research methods. We look forward to gathering more from you in the upcoming discourses on various fields to enlighten us with your creative methods. And now, I would love to thank you with all sincerity and my Cultural Studies Research Forum team and also our whole team TEPS. Wide round of applause and thanks to all the dear participants who made the event a memorable one. I would like to thank all of you present here for making time to be with us today and helping us make this event a super duper success. Thank you one and all. And now it's time to conclude today's session. Have a joyful evening ahead. See you and keep learning. And never forget the motto of our Vallath test, the best is yet to be. Thank you, ma'am.
We have shared the Culture Studies Telegram group link in the chat box. Please join. Thank you so much, Shruti. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
All the best to all of you. Be in touch. With whatever limited knowledge I have, I'll try to help you with your research problems. Practically.
Madam, thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you so much, ma'am.